Okay. I want to call the community service meeting to order. And I want to ask Councilor Walkenstick for the invocation, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just, God, we praise you for this day. Lord, thank you for the change in all seasons, God. And Lord, pray for those who are ill right now, Lord. Pray that, God, that you just heal them, Lord. Be with the doctors and all those people, God, that work on our folks, God. And God, we just, God, we pray for the season. Lord, I pray that you just be with the families, keep everyone safe, keep everybody warm. God, just thank you for this group of council members that you appointed here today, Lord. God, continue just to, God, just look over their lives, Lord, keep them safe. And God, continue just to lead them, Lord, as we lead our tribe. God, we thank you so much. And most of all, we thank you for your cross and for loving us when we fall short. We praise you for all these things. Amen.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Lay has been called away. I guess he had some sickness in his family today, so he won't be here this afternoon. Hopefully he's back tomorrow. But Shelley, would you do the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Dick Lay. Carly Bezer.
Here.
Bill England.
Honey.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Joe Burt.
Honey.
Sean Crittenden.
Honey.
Mike Dobbins. Ricky Hargis.
Present.
Wanda Hatfield. Rick Jordan.
Here.
Mike Shambaugh.
Here.
Mary Bakershaw.
Monty.
E.O. Smith.
Here.
Janice Taylor. Here. Victoria Vesquez. David Walkenstick.
Honey.
Brian Warren.
Honey.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes. Do I hear a motion for approval?
Make a motion.
Second. Second. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. Thank you. Okay, let's move right into reports, and I see Ms. Marcia Land, Human Services on the agenda.
Good afternoon, Council. I am really having problems with my ears today, so I have brought Jennifer Kirby along to answer any questions that you may have, so we won't keep going, what is it? One thing I want to tell you guys is that we are nearing the end of our coat voucher program, and but we'll continue this until the end of November. So if you want to let your constituents know, LIHEAP will be going on probably until the end of December.
Probably early January, yeah.
Or early January.
Yeah.
And then we'll just go right into crisis if funding permits. And anyway, I'm open for questions right now.
Any questions for Councilor Walkenstick?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. If there's someone that they're needing a coat, but they didn't get on the clothing voucher, but they're wanting a coat voucher, are they able to go and get one, or is it just for the people that receive the clothing voucher?
If they are in need, send them, contact me, let me know, give me their information, or give them my phone number, and we will handle those on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
So, I mean, we always try to do whatever we can to make sure that they're taken care of. So, there is possible resources for that.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Councilor Crittenden.
Jennifer, will you give me your cell phone, or would you rather text it?
No, it's 918-316-0283.
0283, and I was going to ask about, there's some that contacted me, and that's a good answer. End of November, they can still come in to the office and try to get that.
Yeah. Well, what we're doing is we're asking that we're trying to get a list because we don't have the cards in every location, and we don't want this to be a hardship for them to have to travel all the way up here. So if they will contact us, or they can contact me, and then we'll put them on the list, and then we will be contacting them for further instructions, because again, we don't want to make them travel to Nowata, to pick up their card or something like that. So we're we're just trying to work on it like that because we do get calls in, and we don't want to be telling people different things. We don't want to be we want to be consistent. So.
And I brought this up years ago, and Marcia, good lady, elder to me, and I always want to be respectful. I've been at Stillwell office, and a lot of things that I bring up, there's no one person to point the finger at. But I've been harping about this for a long, long time there at Stillwell, and everybody else will have a turn to say it about their district, and I would support them. But we're one that have lots and lots and lots of Cherokee, and there's some reports out that I don't agree with their math on these reports and saying my hometown is this or that. But what I do know is there's lots and lots of Cherokees there, and unfortunately lots of folks that need help. I've needed help in the past, but the reality is the one advocate down there, I believe she does her best, and one is simply not enough in Stillwell, and this is something I didn't discover yesterday. I remember in 2015, and if the advocate that's there has a doctor's appointment or an illness or just wants to go fishing, I'm like I say before, I got 4 kids. I don't dream this stuff up. That old phone rings a lot, and they're telling me they are getting turned away. People that's needing a little something, driving from wherever. They don't even have the gas money to drive to town, but they're getting, and it's really a consistent thing over the years. And I want to just ask as politely as I can, and like I said, everyone here will have their turn to ask for one too, but one advocate there is not enough. And I would just plead with whoever to really take a look at that, because that's not a good thing on any of us when they said they can't see me today, or they sit there, and I'm not blaming anybody, but on other things, this body, these good ladies, administration, we have the power, though. We don't need to take the blame, but we have the power to really make it right. It's just something that's, it rises to the top of my list when I think about things that we could really change. But appreciate you looking into that some more, and hope to hear from you. Thank you, Chair.
Sean, can I address some of that?
Yes, ma'am.
This month was really tough. I'm not making excuses,
No.
but we have a lot of staff that's on medical leave
Yes, ma'am.
themselves, which means they're not in the office at all.
Well, I like my leave too.
We have our cold voucher program and LIHEAP going on at the same time. What we're doing for next year is looking at where we don't have to send staff out. That will free them up. We are looking at how we're doing LIHEAP. I'm not saying it'll change that, but I've asked staff to take a closer look at that, whether or not those elders need to come in. Now, years ago, we did a survey, and we asked the elders, do you want us to mail you the application, or do you want to come in? And the majority said they want to come in, because this is the only time that they visit the Cherokee Nation. That might have been 10 years ago, and things change. So what we're looking at, because of staff issues and because our programs are just growing, we're looking at if that is really a need anymore, because we now have the community advocates that can go out and visit and check on these elders. They don't have to actually come in to know what service. because a lot of times when they would come in, they would tell us things, so we didn't want to stop that, but now our programs has changed to where we have a resource that we can check on these elders. So I just want to tell you that may change for the next year. And also for the clothing voucher, we're looking real hard at another way to do that, so we don't send staff
Well,
out.
and good, and I didn't want to disrespect the work that you guys do at all. The problem we're running into now, and you're looking at changing it, is sometimes that same one advocate that we have is the person doing visitations. And that leaves someone that answers the phone there that don't have really the power that an advocate does. And it's, thank you for looking at it, and I'm not, ask my wife, I'm not the smartest guy, but I have whittled this out that another advocate down there, and we do the budget. Another advocate down there would do wonders. And but thank you and appreciate you.
Counselor?
Two things. I don't tell anybody wrong, so if they get a hold of you by the 30th on that Friday, will they still be able to get cards mailed to them?
If they did get the school clothing, yes, we will check their application just so we know how many they had and we can match it up with the summer application. Then yes, if they contact us by the 30th, yes.
Okay. Then I really like that idea, and I think people I talk to would like for that be mailed to them without them having to come in, because they're so concerned about the gas now and all that.
Yeah, we've
think that'd be
gotten
a great
so
idea.
large over the years that and serving more and more clients every year that just some things are going to have to change with the times. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions for?
I have a comment on Councilor Crittenden's comment and request. If we, based on some of the numbers or data that we've been receiving about Adair County, even if some of that was true, would that justify having at least a part-time advocate there? I mean, would that be something you'd look at as far as the budget issue? I'm just looking at, give us option A, option B, and go through your chain of command and let us take a look at that, because I taught school there for close to 20 years, because I know what he's talking about. That's probably the biggest need in that area, in that district, of all the districts that we have. So if that's something that we can do with just amending a little bit of the budget, then maybe we need to do that or take a look at it.
Okay. We can get back to you on that. And we do get a monthly report of traffic. And if that's something that we can discuss and, like you said, follow our chain of command and look at,
Yes.
we can definitely get back with you on that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. Now, the traffic thing, Jennifer, we've talked about that in the past. I just want to make sure that if I'm sending away 10 people, that gets on your traffic report. Now, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, the traffic report may look good if we're not reporting who didn't get to be seen that day. So if you could kind of take that into consideration, you probably already do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's anyone that, we try to catch everyone that comes in to sign in, just so that if someone came back later and said, you know, I was in on that day, that we have a record of that, so.
And I do want to say, our advocates are in the office now on Fridays. I don't know if you know that or not.
All right. Good deal.
Okay, thank you, Marcia. Yeah. Moving on down to community services is Martha Ketcher.
Is she here?
Rochelle Negata. You have the reports before you. Unless you have any questions, I don't have too much more to add to that, other than to say I've challenged the staff to expand see how we could stretch our goals in FY19 to expand new services and add services where we can. I'd like to say I'm really proud of the administrative staff here that are in the building that catch some of the overflow that come through here to give that one-on-one attention to individuals as they come through the office. I ask them to follow up and follow through as someone requests services. It may be just to navigate through the system or whatever, but the advocates here are really on top of that. And to follow up with an example of that would be in the transit program. I want to express my appreciation of our transit program and Michael Lynn's shop. Followed up with an individual to see how she was doing, and that had come through requesting services, and took her a long time to answer the phone. She's confined to a wheelchair, and so I let it ring for a long time, and I told her when she answered, so I was just about to hang up, and she said, well, I just trying to get in the door, just got in from Tulsa. And I said, well, what are you doing in Tulsa? And had an appointment. Well, how'd you get to your appointment? Cherokee Nation Transit Program. And I was just real pleased to hear that we were doing really good for it. That's just one individual out of the 8,700 riders we transit each month. But she also said, I said, well, how are you doing? Just made small talk. How are you doing on groceries? And her feedback was, again, she said, oh, no, I got groceries. Cherokee Nation Transit took me to Walmart. I did my grocery shopping there. So that is just one of the stories out of the 8,700, and just to express the appreciation for that program and the administrative staff for following up. You have the Office of Environmental Health and Engineering report in front of you. What's not there included there is I've been trying to wrap my head around all these projects, multi-year, multi-funded projects that come through the Community Services Department. In OEH&E, Office of Environmental Health and Engineering, there are 34 active projects, of which 20 of them were brought forward from prior year. We have completed 12 projects in FY18, that cumulative total about $14.4 million. We have 15 that are on track to complete in FY19. And then with our youth development and adult program, we had 8 adult and 8 activities. The crafts this month, or the projects this month, were preparing cards and keychains for our veterans for Veterans Day. And we continue to expand our services through internal partnerships. This month we partnered with the HERO Project and had training for our staff, our youth development coordinators, in youth mental health first aid. And they're on track to, for other trainings as they work with our youth throughout each month. And also we partnered with the Foyle community for a community block party in October, and they did projects with the youth there and adults. But unless you have any questions,
Any questions?
highlights of the program.
Councilor Austin.
I don't know how much involvement you have with Pelivan as our sister partner in transportation, but I want to brag on them. They're headed up by Kendra McGeady, who is our chairman of our editorial board for the Cherokee Phoenix right now. And she's the, I don't know her title, but she's the person who does everything over there at Pelivan. And over in our part of the world, if you need services, Pelivan's the partner who does them primarily. I have never reached out to her that she didn't make every effort to find a good solution for somebody, and I believe she's about batting 99% right now. So the key is, though, we have to reach out to them and talk to them and get them connected to the folks so that she has that opportunity to make that call. But I want to give her a shout out in this room.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
No.
Any more questions for him? I have a couple here that I'd like to just, you can touch on it real briefly. I know we've been meeting with the Indian Health Service about their sanitation deficiency system. I wonder if we've had any progress on those changes.
I think we're at the last update I had that we were waiting on the approved projects. Billy, you want to speak to that?
Hardy, you talking about the the consultation process.
Consultation.
We have not heard anything since we made our comments. It was my understanding that IHS headquarters was going to get a group of people together from their different area offices to meet and to go over those comments and then to decide on what they're going to do going forward.
So they're still ranking projects with the old ranking system?
Yes, yes, they haven't made any changes post comments.
Okay, what about, I see one with potential sewer system for West Solomon Springs. Is that for the town of West Solomon Springs?
Yes, to do an actual, there is a sewer system within the town of Solomon Springs, but there's a lot of the area within the city limits that isn't served by their sewer system. So we went and met with them about doing some potential projects to expand their sewer system out into the areas of the town that are currently on septics.
I see. Okay. And the last question, Billy, is I see you're discovering or looking at different ways to reduce the backlog and waiting time.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. That's good news. Is something you're going to be doing different?
Well, we're just going to try to offer our clients a few more options and services. You know, currently we have our contractors and we have our force account crews, and we also have the option to give them materials only. We want to try to maybe look at doing some type of a stipend. So if a participant wants to hire their own Terrell contractor, they could do that, and then we would pay a portion of the cost of the installation, and the participant would pay the remaining portion of the cost and get the services done a little quicker.
That's good news. Glad to hear you're innovating some processes there. Yeah. Any more questions for Community Services? Good report. Mike,
actually, mine's for you, Bill. Are you going to be around for the whole meeting? You are leaving here shortly.
I can stick around if you need to talk afterwards.
I'll talk to you for a minute.
Sure.
All right, thanks, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Any more questions? All right, thank you. Good report.
Marcia needs to make one more comment.
Okay. Marcia, would you come back up?
I'm sorry, I forgot to make an announcement. This past month, we signed an agreement with the MOA with a Miami tribe up there to serve that bunch of people that was in no man's land. And we're now looking at another area, and that's Bartlesville. We're looking to see about getting a waiver there. We have further plans, but they're not even in the works yet. But I just want you to know that that could kind of open the door for other areas. Okay.
Was there any
That's
comment?
under food distribution.
Were there any comments on the waiver that you submitted by the USDA?
Yeah.
They didn't. They just wanted to make sure that we had a safeguard in place to check for dual participation, to make sure that someone wasn't going there and then coming to us as well. And it's a small number as well, so we're able to. We have a good relationship with the food distribution in Miami that we're able to contact them and check when we have clients.
So they'll be using the food distribution for from the ITC tribe then?
No, they're actually using the one in J.
Oh, okay.
And
okay, so they're going to travel from, okay.
Yes, they'll be using the one in J. And so they'll there may be talks about accessing the one in Miami. That is one of the things that ITC did bring up. But for now, they have access to J.
Good word. Thank you. Yep. Hang on just a second.
That's okay. A new community building, wanting to do, we'll have the meals for the elders. They visit with your department.
Yeah, Lisa James is the guru of food senior nutrition sites, and can give guidelines and requirements for that.
Lisa James, thank you.
Thank you. Next up is housing. Mr. Gary Cooper, please.
Good afternoon. Y'all have
have our report. I'm going to probably not say too much more because my allergies are bothering me just a little bit. But I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. I will mention the few of you that were at Intertribal last time, if you heard the HUD report, Wayne Sims, who is our regional administrator and has been for 20-plus years in Oklahoma City, he'll be retiring at the end of this year. So for those of you who know him, I just wanted to be sure to mention that. He worked for the Choctaw Housing Authority before and then went on to HUD to be the regional administrator of Oklahoma City and has been there for 23, 25 years, somewhere in that neighborhood, and done an excellent job. So he's going to leave some big shoes that will have to be filled at some point. So we'll see what happens there, but he will be retiring.
Okay. Any questions for Gary? Yes, Chuck.
Hey, Gary, just Billy mentioned the, oh,
Who's going to replace him, I wonder? Yeah, we need to get somebody.
Billy mentioned the vouchers. Now, Billy, that'd be in the HOSDA funds, wouldn't it, the vouchers?
Or IHS.
IHS? Okay.
Different deals there.
Okay, so nothing that housing could do similar to that? I kind of like that idea, just, something in addition, the vouchers, give that to the folks and they find their tarot vendor and might free up some rehab folks.
No, I mean, we can look at that, but no, I don't think that would be a possibility on the housing side because there's a whole lot of other issues that we have to deal with the house, especially whenever it comes to stuff like lead-based paint and asbestos and things along those lines. So I don't know that would be a good idea, or if it's even possible under the funding that we get, but I can definitely look at it. And also, I will mention, too, I mentioned HUD and the regional office. If you remember, they were here last year, about this time last year to do their regular monitoring that they come in and do. We were notified last week that there are no findings that they have on their report. Everything is good. And we should be getting the final report pretty soon on that. So I did want to be sure to mention that. So no findings, nothing that's required that there's an issue with.
Okay. Any more questions?
Gary, we have anybody in mind to take Wayne Sims' place?
Yes and no. I would hate to.
You'll have to rebuild it.
I would hate to mention it, but I hear that there might be an administrator in another region that might be that is interested in it, and if they were, I would like to see that.
Yeah. Anytime we have a IHS or HUD or one of our offices open up there, I always like to throw one of our tribal members in if that's possible.
And they're administrator in another office, and they're Cherokee.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Shamlin.
I brought this up to you before, and I know that you had said that there wasn't really any way you didn't think we could do it, but I still drive by these empty houses a lot that have been abandoned between Kenwood and Oaks, and there's, I don't remember how many, 26, 28 houses, and some of them aren't really that in bad shape yet. Is there just no way we could go refurbish some of those things? I wouldn't mind doing, I'll do the legwork to see, what would it take from the bank or who's got it, in different instances. I just, gosh, they're just going to waste, it seems like to me, and I just have to look at them all the time. It just bothers me.
Yeah, and
anyway, to even look at that. Structurally, some of them look pretty good. I'm sure the plumbing and electric may be shot, but that would be a cheaper alternative than going and probably buying a new home, possibly.
I can tell you off the top of my head right now, there is no budget line item that we could pull that from in order to purchase a a house from either someone or a bank in a foreclosure or something like that, and then have to rehab and refurbish it and do something like that. And then then we also have the issue of finding someone to take it, and that's not always an issue. Usually we do, but I mean there are times that we have difficulties filling a house that we get back. That's somewhere just because it's in a place where folks they're kind of particular on where they want to live at.
Yeah, I know. I just I've had people call me all the time about waiting lists for housing authority. I mean,
But and at the same time too, the other thing that I might mention is, because you're talking about houses that we don't own, that someone else owns or a bank owns or that's been taken through a foreclosure.
I don't know what the process. I don't know why these people are not in those homes anymore. And I guess it could be case by case.
Yeah, and a lot of times, it's a case by case. Either they had it financed through a private institution, a bank or something like that, or there's a family member passed away and it's tied up in a probate or some issue like that. But I can tell you, I mean, as far as us doing something with it, no. But I mean, if an individual wanted to, I'm sure between me and Anna, we could probably look at, maybe some possibilities. Because one of the options on the 184 program, if an individual wanted their own loan to do it, one of the options on the 184 program is they have the ability to buy and rehab a home. That's an option. If there's someone who is interested in doing that, that might be a way for them to get it, and the title passes directly to them, especially if it's in like a bank or financial institution. And I know, I think your predecessor, we had looked at some at Oaks, and they were all owned by either a bank or an estate where, something would have to be probated, and, it was like an issue. But, I mean, it may be a possibility where we could look at assisting someone and maybe pointing them in the right direction to get their own loan to where they could purchase it, they could do the work on it, and do it. I mean, that is a possibility.
Thank you.
Sometimes we don't think about that, but that's a possibility.
Council Walker.
Thank you, Chair. What makes our housing authority so great is that being tax exempt for a 25-year note, and then getting the home insurance rolled over into that payment. That's what makes the housing authority so great. And then these homes right here that Councilman Shambaugh is talking about, generally, going in and doing a rehab on a house, a total makeover, and that's contracting all out, may at most cost $40,000. Okay, and say all these homes, especially Indian homes that are foreclosed on, you get them $15,000 to $30,000. And it also depends if someone refinanced it. That could be $7,000. But the thing is I think what you're telling us is you're passing a buck to the constituents, and hey, you go get that 184. We'll help you get it, and then we'll provide you some of the money to go fix this thing up, but this house doesn't go in a tax-exempt status. They're having to pay taxes on it. Is there a way, Gary, that some of these houses that are sitting, that are Indian homes, on a case-by-case, that we could assign somebody to go out and to do the homework on the house, see what the financial situation is on the home with the bank, and go into this business of remodeling these homes that are just sitting and are foreclosed on? Because it sounds like Councilman Shambaugh's already identified the locations of where they're at. It's just a matter of sending someone out to do the homework and figure out what the situation is on each home. Is that possible, or is that something you guys don't even want to get into?
I mean, just like I mentioned with Councilor Shambaugh, I mean, it's something that we would have to look at, but I can tell you right now, there's no budget line item that I know of off the top of my head that would cover something like that.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess if there's a proposal.
Who they belong to now? I mean, they're paid off, and
yeah.
Who
I mean, I think that there's been some talk about particular areas, but I think if you went down any road or street out there in any county that you live in, you would find them as homes that are either, yeah, they're privately owned homes. They're homes that have become abandoned for one reason or another. Either folks got into, you know, a problem financially and the bank had to foreclose on them, or so they may be owned by, you know, by a bank or a lender, you know, whether it's a local lender or an out-of-state lender, or someone's passed away and now it's going to have to be probated. I mean, there was one family that I was talking with the other day on another issue, but as we was talking and me just taking some quick notes, I could figure out pretty quick in the back of my head that in order to clear up this piece of property, it was going to take about 4 different probates, because that's how many heirs at different parts of the family had passed away. So I mean, there's all kinds of, it's a multiple of issues. I don't think that it's just a one or a single issue, but it's a multiple of issues.
Council President.
Yeah, Gary, I had some trouble sending my folks for the 84s to our banks there in town, and the bank's not really understanding or knowing what it is. Do you know?
Armstrong, I know, is a 184 lender.
Right. Now Armstrong in Stillwell or Tahlequah?
Armstrong, I think most of Armstrong's are done out of the Muskogee office, but they can. But I think all the branches.
Now, do you know any that's sure enough on top of it? Because some of my folk, I mean, in Tahlequah or Muskogee.
I think if you want to visit with maybe me and Anna afterwards.
Bank First, and they know that.
There's 184.
Yeah. Bank 2 out of Oklahoma City, which is Chickasaws. Well, we can. Anna probably can give you a few ideas of where they kind of send folks to. But those
to me
are the
that
ones.
the bank should be chomping at the bit, right? Because
I mean, if I would,
it's a guaranteed.
Yeah, it's 100% guaranteed loan
For the banks, right?
Mm-hmm. If like we go back to these other deals that they were talking about, if someone doesn't make their payments and the home gets foreclosed on, bank's no longer there because the guarantee is paid out by HUD, and HUD's the owner of the home now, and not the bank through a foreclosure.
So the bank don't.
I mean, it's a win-win for them.
And
If I was a bank, I would, because you know that's a guaranteed loan.
now, the 184th individual, they can do buy,
They can do
build, rehab, right?
build, buy and rehab, or a single closed new construction. Not all lenders do parts of those. Some just do like you can buy.
Now our new construction is essentially that, right? 184. Now,
Yeah.
Now, does the housing authority have that option someday? Not tomorrow, but to do the buy, build, or rehab, like maybe one of these. Does the housing authority have that option, like the individual? Because right now, of course, we just have the.
We have all. I mean, if we wanted to, I mean, we would have all the same options.
It might be something, another option. If I went in, new construction is an option, full rehab, or you could get into, maybe that would cut down some rehab. I don't know. I'm just had an idea from what they were talking about, but.
Oh, let me interrupt you a second. I know a little bit about this.
All right.
And to rehab costs more per square foot than to build brand new. The contractors out there that rehab, it just costs more. They got to tear down, they got to tear off the old roof, put a new roof on. There's just more to it. And I finally found out I was cheaper building new apartments than I was rehabbing old ones. At the end of the day, our people get a brand new home with brand new lumber, brand new sheetrock, brand new everything, and they knock halfway through a project and find they got mold or termites or any of those things.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
And I'm just saying, barking up the tree of rehab is
but I just
not going to be cost efficient.
Okay. I mean, I'm a fan of new construction by golly, but I just, you know, an option. I mean, I don't deal with housing every day, but anyway, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm going to take one more question here.
I just, I don't know, I'm just trying to think outside the box on what can supplement, you know, because I don't know the last time my district has had new housing built in it. So, you know, when I try to think outside the box.
I can look and see.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to do something to provide something extra. Because, you know, we haven't had a lot of building in my district in quite a while, so. But that's the direction I'm coming from. I'm just trying to think outside the box. And I don't require an answer. That's just where I'm coming from.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, good. One more question, and that's it. Mr. Austin.
It's not even a question, it's a comment. I want to commend Gary and his team. I just got notified that the elevator is finally finished at Claremore Apartments. That's been a project. Thank you.
We have a brand new elevator at Claremore. So now there is two. The one that was existing, we will refurbish that, and they will still be in use. So there will be two elevators at the senior apartment project there.
That literally, the first 3 months I was in my office, was the single most frequent phone call I got was that the elevator was malfunctioning and it was stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so grateful that you guys got creative and figured out how to make that happen, because that was hard.
It took a while, and I mean, if you're looking for a business to go into, I would suggest the elevator repair business, because it is hard to find someone.
Well, so I commend you for being creative and figuring out how to do that. I commend you for being creative in working with the health department, our health folks, in finding a solution for their needs for the contract health office.
You bet.
And creative solutions can be found.
Yep, and we don't mind working with folks anytime we can, and health asked if we could help them out, and we said, of course, yeah. So that I think that will be a win-win for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
Okay, roads and transportation, Mr. Michael Lynn.
Good afternoon. I'll try to keep my report brief. You have a copy of our report, but just to touch on a few projects. The Honey Hill project in Adair County, I've talked about in here and reported on in past months. We've been waiting on vegetation to get established out there before it could be closed out with the Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality. We actually found out this afternoon that ODEQ has approved the what they call the termination of the permit that the contractor has to apply for. So that means there is adequate vegetation out there. We'll be processing a final payment to that contractor here in the next couple of weeks. Bell School Road in Adair County, the utility relocation is underway. Windstream Communication is finalizing their relocation, and we're waiting on Cherokee Rural Water District to complete their design before it can go to construction. Ross Street, located here in the city of Tahlequah, that we began advertising for bids on November 1st. We held a pre-bid meeting on November 8th, and we had about 13 subcontractors and subcontractors present at that pre-bid meeting. We currently have a bid opening schedule for December 4th at 10 a.m. Utility relocations on that project are still underway, but we anticipate them being completed by the time the main construction contractor is on site to start work. Hopefully that'll be around the first of the year. The North-South 4410 or Turnpike Bridge project in Craig County right-of-way acquisition is underway. We've acquired 4 out of the 10 parcels, and the acquisition consultant has been working on it. They're trying to get these remaining 6 parcels acquired. Chimney Rock Road in Mays County, utility relocation again is underway on that project. NEO Electric Co-op has been given the approval to proceed, and Mays County RWD number 9 is completed and just performing minor cleanup right now. And then our staff's also been working on collecting field data to update our Tribal Transportation Program road inventory. That's an annual process we go through. We've got to get that submitted to the BIA in March of 19. So we've been working away on that. And then lastly, I just want to echo Councilor Austin's comments on Pelivan and Kendra McGeady. We deal with Kendra on almost sometimes a daily basis, trying to schedule rides and meet the needs of citizens, and she is excellent, excellent to work with, very responsive. So appreciate her, appreciate Pelivan and the relationship that the nation has with Pelivan Transit. So thank you for those comments.
Okay, any questions for Michael? Yes, sir.
Was there someone able to come down to that place you and I were talking about? Yeah.
It's on my list.
Okay. Thank you. I know. I
Yes,
appreciate
yes,
it.
yes.
Thank you.
Mud Valley Road?
It's still underway. It's we're working on survey and design right now. The contractor is working on survey, or consultant, I guess, working on survey and design.
Chair.
Same situation, except there is an issue that survey is working on, trying to get some legal descriptions corrected that have mainly they're off the highway on that little row of houses through there. It's my understanding there were some issues with some past surveys that were done, maybe overlapping areas. They're trying to get those squared away and straightened up. So that was the last report I got on that.
Moonshine Road.
Moonshine Road, we issued the final payment on that project today. So.
Councilor Shamble.
Do you think it's they're probably too late to start making asphalt, or it's too cold, isn't it, to make companies to make asphalt right now?
I mean, it just kind of depends on how far it's going to have to be hauled or trucked. But you know, we're looking at 60-degree weather at the end of the week. It's hard to say. Ground temperature's got to be 40 and rising, I believe. That was the last I knew.
Have you had contact with the guys I was talking about the two roads? The commissioner kind of this form in my District 9? Have you talked to them?
Yes.
We can talk about it later.
Yeah, I don't recall the projects right offhand, but we have been in contact with that commissioner.
I'll get you after here in just a minute. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, moving on down to
Thank you.
Michael Lambert. Any public comments? This is an important aspect of the road program, but no public comment.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commerce, Housing Report from Ms. Ananaya.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
You have a copy of my report. Not a lot of activity. It's not house buying season. This was less than 1 month, but we have about 350 people in the MAP pipeline and about 260 in the ISA pipeline that we'll be trying to put as many through as we can this year. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Anna?
Go over one more time the banks that do business in the 184. I heard them earlier, but for everybody
Right,
else.
there's several of them, and I can send you a list of the
Okay.
184 approved lenders.
Okay.
Bank First is a big 184
Yes.
lender, and Bank Two, the Chickasaw Bank, is a big 184 lender.
Okay.
And then many of the mortgage companies that are around deal with a lot of 184 lenders. But if someone's having trouble, they can contact our office, and we'll.
Why wouldn't one of our local banks want to do 184? Is it that much time consuming for the applications?
Most of the banks that do mortgages that are sold on the secondary market are do 184s. Some of the smaller local banks don't make loans that long, and they don't make mortgages that go on the secondary market. So they may make a house loan, but they'll make it for 5 years with a balloon note.
Okay.
And then they refinance it after 5 years. For another 5 years with a balloon note. And that's kind of how they operate, because they can't commit their money that long, and that's what some of the smaller local lenders do.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any questions?
Is there an income limit on the 184 loans?
No.
So any income? So you have income?
And right, and they go by the standard debt-to-income ratio. That would be the biggest thing, is that they have to meet housing. 33% of their income can go towards housing, and 41 or 42% can be their total debt load.
Every zip code has a different limit as to the top end. In other words, some zip codes go up for a whole lot more than other zip codes. It's all based on averages in the community and yada, yada, yada.
So there is actually a limit?
There is a limit on the amount.
On the amount of the home, total development cost of the home.
Okay, any more questions for Anna? Thank you, Anna, for the
Thank
report.
you.
Thank you. Next up, Indian Child Welfare, Ms. Nikki Baker-Limon.
He needs help. Yeah. He's drinking heavy today.
Good afternoon. Hey, Nikki.
Nikki, you're drinking heavy today.
I know it. One announcement is that Angel Tree Kickoff will be Tuesday at 4 next week, so that's always exciting. If you're in town, we'd love to have you. It will be right by administration. Big Christmas tree will be put up with our angels on that. So, other than that, it's just business as usual.
That's great.
Nikki, you've helped me a lot in the past on some of these names that didn't quite make the old deadlines. Can I just, what would you, if you're able to help?
Sure.
You just need name.
I asked my staff on my way out here if we're still accepting late applications. Last year we served 2,000 children. I asked our current number. Right now we're almost 1,700, so we're still down 300. So my response to them, then we're still accepting more, aren't we? And they said, you bet. So Misty Blunt, but our number there at Cherokee Nation is 458-6900, or at ICW. And so just give them that number and ask for Misty, and we'd be glad to email, or if they don't have email, we'll figure out a way that they can get that application, and we'll still process those. And I will try to find out when the last day is, but we will take them up to the very last second. And I imagine we still have a week or two.
Well, you've been good in the past. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we want to help as many as we can.
Numbers what?
Right now, we're almost 1,700.
No, I mean phone
Oh, I'm
number.
sorry, 458-6900.
Awesome. Have a question from Councilor Taylor.
A few weeks ago, we got an email from somebody regarding shopping for the Angel Tree, and I have had some scholarship participants reach out to me looking for opportunities. I passed on the information to them, and I hope that's okay for them to call if the time meets them that you would accept a scholarship applicant. Okay.
Absolutely. We love to accept those. There are a lot of times college kids. And there's special shopping days. I know one high school student who goes to college a couple times a week had emailed me or asked me, and I want to say it's like December 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. But if they will call that number and just ask for Misty, those are times when we love for the public to come help us do the shopping.
I figured it'd be all right, but I just
Oh, absolutely. When you have to buy for 2,000 children, we take all the help that we can get. And they've got it down to a fine tee. They're pretty organized. So they hand you the angel, tell you the amount you can spend, and meet you at the register. And it's just, it's really...
Very good. All
It's a great
That's all I
program.
have.
It is.
Great program.
Do you have any more? Thank you, Doug.
No, sir.
Thank you for your report. Next up is Community and Culture Outreach Director Rob Doty.
It's good to see Rob. Hadn't seen him in a while.
You got it? You have my, it's not as pretty as before. Our graphic guy was gone, so Andy and we tried to do as best we can like Mark, but we couldn't do it. But the stats and stuff are in there for any questions, anything. And I know somebody's going to see it on the last page of the volunteer program. With this group, we worked backwards. We went from 25th of October to the 19th, as you can see on there. But it worked, so it's a typo, so. Any questions?
Any questions for Rob?
Yes.
What is the volunteer program? I mean, I haven't been paying attention, I guess, but
Okay.
would you explain that just a little bit for me?
Okay. Tony Stay at Home and Josh Allen coordinate that, and it's groups, mostly
Okay.
universities.
Yeah, okay, I've got it, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Thank you,
It's usually universities or some church groups, and they come in and help.
Okay, all right.
So they come from out, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for Rob?
When's your next meeting? CCO meeting?
What?
Community meeting. When's your next meeting?
This coming weekend, and with the Cherokees, Desert Cherokees, and Tucson, and then our group in Phoenix. This coming weekend, right before Thanksgiving. So.
Okay.
Any questions for Rob?
Good report, Chief.
Thank you, Rob.
Well done.
Moving on down to old business, I see none pending. New business, we have any, we don't have any. So announcements, anybody got any announcements? Any announcements?
Any community meetings?
I got one Thursday night at Muldrow.
Boy, I'm gonna have to try
Muldrow
to,
High School cafeteria.
I'm gonna have to try, I've heard of that place.
Charlie's Chicken, come on down.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Second. All in favor?
Half of Ian will be there.